almost one job for man.
Can anyone hear anything?
For your information. Next is main point of work that's been worked on by staff and the Mount Airy team, as well as the potential conditions to be considered by the town board. There's two renditions, but I want us to stop there and let's not look at the packet. For those two items, there should be a handout. It's updated. It was updated this morning. The conversation continued after the packet was submitted. Staff in Mount Airy, staff received comments. We made changes. We made editorial changes. We made some content changes. And I'll say this: Mount Airy worked diligently with staff back and forth until we got to where we are, and that's what you've got in front of you. So everybody does have that add-on packet. It's Jennifer provided. I can reference that there's a T in the top right-hand corner. I did that to represent town staff. So this is the rendition that came from town staff. Mayor Pro Tem, there's a lot in this document. It's about 3 pages long. The items that are not highlighted or struck through, those are completely in agreement with Mount Airy Farms. So unless I need to, I will go back and respond to it, but I'm not going to go into detail of all of those items. Be glad to answer questions, unless the board wants me to. That I'm going to start with just going through the things that are different. On page 2, numeral or bullet item number I starts off with East 3rd Street, west of the East 3rd Street closure, with a slightly adjusted point of closure. That adjusted point of closure is because of the cul-de-sac that was added at that section. The Mount Airy agrees to do the 35-foot paved radius and also maintain the grass island that's shown. It's been shown on the relocation map for several renditions. Third item is it was a request to receive, rather than completely block the eastbound traffic on East 3rd Street with the proposed concrete island, allow a right-in only at parcel number 16949 and 16945. So I guess I go to the map right there. I might explain that better again. The map that we received from Mount Airy Farms shows a concrete island here, preventing any traffic to utilize this old 3rd Street section. So what we learned was that Mount Airy discussed this with DOT and thought this was a better, DOT prefers this connection to allow these folks to connect just to that one location. And that's why Mount Airy put it like this. They didn't suggest a concrete island to begin with. They proposed that to be an access point. But Mount Airy shared that with me. And then I contacted DOT. We actually got on a call this morning. Jamie Bowl, Mount Airy, and myself, and the district supervisor, and agreeing stated that the proposal as it is preferred and recommended by DOT to not allow that lighting on. I wanted to update the board of that item. I put it red, differentiated because it's against DOT's recommendation. That's why I highlighted it. All right, moving down to R. The purpose of this difference is the East Raleigh Street improvements. Mount Airy has agreed to put in turning lanes to the driveways into their employee parking lot. They've done that prior to the last meeting. They'll continue to honor that commitment. There will be a right turn in and left turn in lanes for both driveways, driveway 1 and driveway 2. The difference is Mount Airy prefers to do this work after the 3rd Street work is completed. And the reasoning is I feel like one of the objectives that, Mount Air is trying to accomplish is to remove traffic off of Third Street. So if it was required during construction of the Third Street alignment, this Raleigh Street traffic would be moved over to Third Street at the same time. And their recommendation is to allow the work to happen after the Third Street work is done, then start on the Raleigh Street work, and that would be the only construction project going on at one time. And I don't want to speak for Mount Air. That's my interpretation of what the difference is there. So staff had heard a couple of different conditions there. Do it before the work was complete, and Mount Air was, honestly, we get there, suggested they would do it after. So that's that piece. And then the last two are also items that came into for consideration, and we wrote those down and discussed them on Mount Air, and they're in disagreement with these two items completely. They have not suggested any alternatives as we have worked with most all of these conditions we've worked together on. It is a proposed left turn lane on East Raleigh Street into North 10th Avenue, and also a left turn lane into South 10th Avenue on Raleigh Street. To give you an example of what we're talking about, if you're traveling on East Raleigh Street, going toward downtown, you get to White Oak Drive, turn left going to George Matthews High School, there's a left turn lane to get into White Oak Drive. That's to allow folks from the left to sit there and wait in the traffic and keep on going downtown. Same principle for 10th Avenue. And there's not an agreement with doing that project. Staff went a little bit further. If you look at the next three pages, I titled it with an M, those are Mount Air's comments. You can see what Mount Air is suggesting versus what we proposed for our discussion. And you can see where they removed items and used strike through and blue underline, I believe, in our packet to represent their comments. But as I thought it might be helpful as we're talking about a few of these conditions that were suggested and Mount Air, did not agree to those. I thought I'd provide some information. We've got an aerial photo in this packet. There's a couple of photos that were taken around 3 to 3:30 last Thursday, showing some traffic on Raleigh Street. And another thing that was brought up about the 10th Avenue turning lanes was that it was studied in the TIA. And I provided some pertinent sections of the TIA that talks about North 10th Avenue, its trips, its left turn trips as well. And that's in the packet for additional information if you need to.
Other than the, so comparing T to M, other than the highlighted and struck through red marks and the underlying blue mark, are there any other differences between T and M?
All that I'm aware of. We can ask that question now as well.
So I3, N3, O, S and O. And I3 was not recommended by DOT.
That's correct. All right, just to summarize, we talked a lot there. Determining when the Raleigh Street turn lanes into the employee parking lot, when they would be constructed, is one decision that I think may be in front of the board. And then the other would be whether to require turn lanes 10th Avenue. Consideration.
I have a question.
Ma'am.
Speaking of Raleigh Street, of course, I always said that I think the impact on Raleigh Street is going to be tremendous. Has the EDC thought about doing a impact study on Raleigh Street? Or have they done it, or suggested it, or is that even works? Because it's quite busy, very busy. So, having lived in Siler City my whole life, I understand that people like to do cut-throughs and cut-offs. And we're talking about going through neighborhoods, we're talking about going to get to Raleigh Street. And we've got people that live on Raleigh Street, and we also have two businesses on Raleigh Street. And we have people going to school, getting in and out of school. Has EDC been contacted or thought about, maybe I missed, have they done an impact study on Raleigh Street?
Not that I'm aware of that.
Okay. So I guess that could be something that we might want to look into. Is that correct?
That would be a typical with this man.
Okay. I know what the traffic is like because I worked there for 13 years. And I know how busy it is. And I know there are accidents on Raleigh Street, probably more than 3rd Street, because someone hit me leaving school. So I think possibly we need to do an impact study on Raleigh Street to see what it is and what it will be in the future if the road is closed.
Got a hand up.
I'm sorry, Chief.
As a point of reference to that, the EDC has done an economic impact study on what the rerouting of the road would be and what it would have, the total impact, downtown and everything. And I think that's what the information is included in the EDC packet is in there as well. And as far as the traffic goes, if I remember correctly, I think we have done, since this started, for 2 traffic impact studies. I think one what's 2017 or something, and then another one done. So there's been 2 traffic impact studies done that included Raleigh Street, 3rd Street, and others. But the EDC study included everything. And in that EDC packet was sent, there was a survey sent out to all business owners, everything, their comments on it, their personal contacts made. And what we have is a conclusion that EDC came up with based on the information that they received. And doing all this by memory, but by and large, their recommendation was on the EDC, or the economic impact was, that the improvements that we're looking at or were proposed would be a net positive on the town as a whole.
And if I just want to make sure that I understand this correctly, because, regarding traffic on Raleigh Street, we're not talking about any Raleigh Street activity until after the 3rd Street connector has been complete. So we're gonna have all of the rerouting done, opened up before any, there would not be any closures anywhere that would reroute traffic onto 3rd Street. Is that correct? I mean, from 3rd Street to Raleigh Street. So if I understand, there wouldn't be any impact to Raleigh Street until at some point when Raleigh Street is under construction with the turn lanes. Okay, let's make sure I understood that correctly.
And I also want to say one other thing that, make sure I'm clear, Mr. Gray asked the question, has there been any impact studies? And I have EDC in my mind because that was what was mentioned. We're talking about economic and EDC, so I'm not aware of anything specific that was done for the economic impact of Raleigh, but do want to build off what, when Chip started speaking, made me think of it, was that, yeah, we have done traffic impact. The traffic impact studies have been done. We actually looked at the intersection of North 10th Avenue and and Raleigh Street, so there was guidance given there. That's in the packet as well, the conclusion of the impact of this project to that intersection. So there has been some traffic impact work that has been done.
Commissioner Payne.
Jack, I don't know if this was the last meeting or the meeting before, there was some discussion of reducing the right of way on Third, back near preferred insurance. Does that come up again? So,
It is, it's a good question, Mr. David. If you go to the packet that we passed out this evening, the one with the T at the top,
this,
letter B, I'll read it. Mount Mount shall pay the street closing fee per the town fee schedule, reporting the order to close, deed preparation costs and fees, and plat preparation and recordation fees to reduce the right of way of East Third Street from its current 100 feet to 60 feet from the eastern corner of parcel number 15070 to the right of way, the western corner of parcel number 16949, prior to the construction permit for the realignment project. So, matter agreed to take care of the fees, recording of plats, preparation of deeds and plats for that project.
and just,
Obviously, that has to be in agreement with the property owner.
right, just for point of reference, 16949, is that preferred insurance? And what is 15070? Is that your body shop?
I didn't computer look at that. It was
Okay. Yeah.
sit down and find it on my laptop.
Well, while you're looking for that, I have another question.
Yeah. I have to see.
So,
Let's get them all out.
so the two items that Mayor did not agree to are 2 and are 3 on, version T is schedule E. Do you have, or do you know, what an estimated cost of those 2 items would be roughly?
You looking at the new packet?
I'm looking at T, yes, sir, page 3, 3 of 17,
The 2 and 3 of that top.
right there at the top on
Yeah.
page 3.
Yes,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
reading it. When you asked me what the estimated cost of
If
this,
you know, if you have any idea. Don't, that's not.
I'd be wrong, Mr. David. We could probably gather that later for you, but, not right this moment.
One 6949 is right for the investment. I think the other one must be preferred.
Okay. And just for curiosity, do you know what 16945 is? That's a. 49, I think is right. 16945. What business is that? South Street. I'm sorry? South side of the street. Is it the south side of the street? Ron Simpson, Charles Hudson, Bryce City Horse on the south side, Bobby Steele on the north side. And Simmons on the south side.
Body shop.
Third, and you get the Third Street and Charles, that's Third Street auto, and I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure which one it was, and then you got. Is it okay?
The 15070 is, on. I think the intent of that street closure was to take in the lots that were part of this, the curve would not include in its frontage anymore, so that would be, Mr. Horton's property, Mr. Hudson's property, Mr. and Mrs. Simpson, and Mr. Steele. I think that's the four parcels that we're talking about being included.
Anyone have some more questions for Jack?
Yeah, and I'll just, as my closing, the action tonight, it's, I'll get to the board. Close the public hearing. Next step would be to consider resolutions. Those have been provided in your packet. Considering those resolutions, we would need to decide on the condition list. That's a part of the resolutions to close. And, couple undecided items so far, but they have to be made right now. We can listen to the, I noticed the folks on the public comment and the Ryan's presentation as well. So,
Yeah, one thing before you get away from the podium, if you would, if you would expand, we had down there put on a series of informational programs, you know, to outline what they had in mind, so people could comment back to them way before we ever got to this page. It wasn't a public hearing. It was more of an informational session or fact finding. Can you elaborate on that process?
I'm gonna start a little bit above that because I did have a note to talk about this. I'm glad you brought it up, Commissioner Price. October 8, 2018, Mount Airy submitted these street closing petitions. That's when the process began. The staff had never undertaken a request quite like this. Matter of fact, it's hard to find examples. But we went at it and we worked with DOT, town staff, managers office, public works, fire, police. We all reviewed this proposal. We went back and gave Mount Airy comments. Mount Airy came back with responses, and we continued this over a couple of renditions. Mount Airy TIA, original TIA was reviewed by staff and DOT, and so there was a lot of work and time, and I won't call it negotiating, but fact finding and information that we could use or gather to be shared with the board when we got to this point, this public hearing. So we took that time to get here. And yeah, back in September of 2020, it's a Thursday, September 17th, Mount Airy hosted public input sessions via Zoom. There was a morning, 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. That was following discussion at a town board meeting. We knew the public input would be important, and we continued to put together a proposed realignment project, and that happened. And then, of course, from September 2020 till, let's say, June or July, There was continued conversation going back and forth as we looked at the new type TI. I estimated a master transportation impact analysis, traffic impact analysis that the town's engineer reviewed. So we had town engineer review. So you could tell the depth of review and more. EDC's economic impact report was a part of that in that time frame. And then leading up to this public hearing, staff mailed certified letters to all the adjacent property owners. In addition, not by state law, but by local decision, we mailed 74 area property owners notification of the meeting. There were 8 notice of public hearing signs were posted to the city. And it was advertised in Chattanooga by law. But in addition to that, town advertised as an ad with a map. So that was in addition to, and also had ads at the WNCA radio station. So that's kind of a little bit of background I wanted to share. I think that we missed that, finding that at the public hearing, to get to this point for the board to have a decision to consider. Mr. Price, that, go. I think I sort of provided the board direction. If we get to a point of closing the public hearing, those would be things there. I can get back up and answer questions as we move through the public hearing. That's all I have this time.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess now we need to get now air representatives. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Just state your name and address, please.
I think you have to turn the microphone on. There we go.
All right. All right, Philip Plyler, and I'm from Delaware. I want to, let's see, can you put it in presentation mode? Great. All right, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity once again to get here in front of you and speak about the rerouting of Third Street.
It's right here, I don't know.
Yeah. Not working. All right. Click. All right. Well, we'll work with that. So I really have 3 things or 3 areas I want to talk to you about. First, listening and responding. I want to go through how we've done our best as a company to really listen to the concerns of the neighbors here in Siler City, how we work to respond. Positive impact that Mount Air as a company and this facility has had on Siler City. And then last, moving forward. So if you could help me there. At the last meeting, there was a lot of conversation about Raleigh Street. Right? I know obviously it's a big concern to the folks at the meeting. I also mentioned at that meeting that we are going to do our best to listen to the neighbors and the members of the community and respond. So if you could click. I want to tell you now, as you've already heard, we have committed to putting turn lanes adjacent to our parking lot. Of course, that's subject to any concerns or approval by DOT and this body, the city of Siler City, but we are committing to doing that. I did want to point out 2 things. One more click, please. There you go. We have had, I mean, to me, this is a gesture of good faith on our part as a company. There's been, as we mentioned, 2 separate studies that pointed out that this was not necessary at this time. Additionally, I think one of the things that came up at the last meeting was concern about the people coming in for shifts, day and night shift. It is important to point out that these shifts are staggered. It's not that everybody's coming in at one time. That said, at the end of the day, we heard it was a concern for the folks here and our neighbors. So again, click. we have committed to doing the training. So, next. Knowing that that was a concern, we went ahead and made a commitment internally. I don't know at what point we committed to you guys. But we did go out and seek police, local police. We have, as you can see here, we've engaged the Chatham County Sheriff to just sit out there and basically address any problems. If we have a problem being able to secure the police, we'll hire our security. But the sheriff's done a great job. I would tell you, and this is a note or a letter from the sheriff, along with his daily reports, saying that basically, why am I here? I don't see a problem, but I'll stay here as long as we need to. So that's our commitment to you, that we'll stay there with the traffic, additional traffic help if needed, for as long as you want us to, or until the new lanes are put in, right? Additionally, at the last meeting, one of the concerns that came up, we'd already committed to the cul-de-sac on the east side of Third Street. It was obvious listening to people in the audience, and I think some people maybe approached you afterwards. For the need of a cul-de-sac on the west side, we looked into that, we got with our folks, and we're committing to doing that as well. Put me there. Again, everything's pending DOT and Siler City. There we go. The last time I was here, actually based on the meeting prior to that, there was some concern about Fifth Street. And we had committed to widening, so there's three pieces of property there between the road that's going to be rerouted and Pine Glade Street. There's three pieces of property, one we own, then one that's owned by somebody else, and the one we own. We had committed to, on the one we own, widen it. I can tell you tonight, we'll go ahead and widen it on both pieces of property. I cannot commit, since we don't have own the land in the middle, to widen that road, but we'll widen the land that we do own. And where possible on the land in between, we'll work with the city to widen that as much as the city is allowed to. Could you give me a quick? Thanks. With regard to 10th Avenue, again, there were two different studies that showed that a turn lane was not needed at this time. However, if you could click, one of the things we heard and saw in the pictures that there's a little bit of a culvert there that if we widened it, might be helpful. So we're committing to extending that culvert, widening it, trying to address that concern. Additionally, if you could click, there was concern about trucks coming through that area. So we're committing to putting no truck or no through truck signage down that road. This was the one area, I think, where we have had different views. The whole start of this process was about safety on Third Street, the amount of trucks and the number of trucks we have crossing every day. All we ask is that we finish Third Street before we reroute Raleigh, because we think putting that additional traffic on there is really going against the whole planning process. Also, one of the things that came up in the last meeting was the plans or perceived plans for the Smith property. I wanted to address that as well. Mount Air is a 107-year-old company. We're always going to grow. We're looking to grow. We're looking to what we do be here 100 years from now, right? I can tell you right now, across the company, Lumber Bridge, Statesville, Feed Mills, we're looking at 6 different deals for property. If property comes available in our facilities, we evaluate. If we think it's something we might use sometime in the future, that could be 10 years and 30 years from now, and it's a value, we buy it. It's really that simple. That doesn't mean we have to have a plan for it now. One of the reasons we do that is because over the years, we passed on things and didn't evaluate it, which we had later. So that was it. We saw land near our facility. We thought it was a reasonable price, and we bought it in case we might need it in the future. But we do not have specific plans for it at this time. And you know that if we were to move forward with any plan, I'd be back here discussing it at that time. As far as timing, I think one of the concerns that came up at the last meeting was we didn't want to rush this. And as was pointed out earlier, this is not a rush. It started October 8th, 2018, almost 3 years ago. Since that date, our list, we've had at least 15 meetings with different city officials, not counting phone calls and the like, but face-to-face meetings. Tonight would be the 16th, and that doesn't count, or that, well, you could include 2 public information workshops we also have. Additionally, I know it's come up a couple of times, last meeting, the meeting before last, had we met with the businesses in the area. I have 2 separate lists, one before that meeting, and one since. We've met with 20 businesses on Third Street. I would tell you we've met with anybody who would meet with us or wanted to meet with us, some multiple times. Additionally, we've spoken to neighbors, the police, the fire department, and city officials, and that feedback has led to the following, because we've had other changes as a result of these conversations, in addition to the changes I've already discussed, but I want to go back through. So one thing we heard, I think it was also mentioned tonight, was a real concern on the businesses in that area that we keep Third Street open. Got it. We're committed to keeping Third Street open throughout the process. Originally, I believe it was set so that the street kind of ended in a T. That was something that came back from multiple sources that wasn't going to work. So we have curved the road to hopefully address any concerns people had there. Also signage to support coming to downtown Siler and the businesses impacted on Third Street. Now again, as I mentioned earlier, the no through trucks signage on 10th Avenue. Just to follow up, as I mentioned earlier, we've agreed to widen the culvert on 10th Avenue at the intersection of Raleigh, the additional cul-de-sac, the additional widening of 5th Street, the adding of the turn lanes on Raleigh, and then to provide the police. And I say all this because I think it demonstrates a good faith effort on the part of our company, part of our people here. I know our team here has been up and down the street talking to folks. We certainly tried to address the points that people have made since this process began. So let's talk about the positive impact of this plant and this company and this community. Since we originally bought that facility, we put in nearly $200 million into Siler City and surrounding areas. We employ 1,600 different people. Last year, $1.6 million in property taxes. We're looking at average annual payroll, nearly $50 million. Additionally, 26 different farms that grow our chickens in the area. 1.4 million square feet of housing, an additional $3.8 million for growers. That is big money, and it's coming into this county and supporting the people who live here. Additionally, because a lot of comments came up about, has there been an economic study? If you recognize the name Honorable Ted Budd, he's your representatives in the House of Representatives in DC. He actually made this proclamation in Congress here last week. I'll just read part of it. Partnering with over 500 growers and employing over 1,500 workers in Siler City, Mount Air's economic footprint is essential to the region. Statewide, Mount Air is an economic powerhouse, employing over 5,000 employees and processing over 840,000 chickens on any given day, and is a major asset in North Carolina agriculture, the state's largest industry. While continuing to increase production capacity and growing their business, Mount Air has remained focused on what really matters, the community they set shopping. Through initiatives like Mount Air Cares, their annual Thanksgiving for Thousands drive, scholarships, and other community service projects, they are deeply invested in improving the quality of life for Chatham County residents. Please join me in commending Mount Air Farms on a job well done. That was read in the House in DC this past week. In addition to the economic impact, I'm proud of my team, teams really across the company, and what they've done to give back. Starting with Thanksgiving for Thousands, that's an event that has been going on for a company for 20 years. And we were able to bring that to Siler with great success. Last year, we packed 3,000 meals. Each meal fed a family of 4, so we were able to feed 12,000 people in the community. Excited this year, we're going to be able to expand that to both Christmas and to Easter as well. Chicken donations, that's what we do. We like to give chicken away when we can. Churches, nonprofits, fire companies throughout the year. Monetary donations, the Siler City Police Department, the Fire Department, and numerous nonprofits. Presenting sponsor at the Siler City Spring Chicken Festival. To me, that's a big thing. I know there were a lot of chicken companies in Siler at one time. I don't know what happened over the years, but I know when we came back, we were the only one to come back. And we were proud to help restart that tradition. And I think it was a $20,000 investment. As I remember, that was a great event. And we're glad to be a part of it. Truckload sales. During the height of COVID, I know here in other parts of the country, there's a real fear on the food supply or a lot of empty shelves in grocery stores. We did our part here and around the country, but here in this area, 400,000 pounds of chicken sold at greatly reduced prices, right? That's 10, 18 wheelers of chicken. My own team were out here on the weekend, putting in people's cars. Volunteer efforts. Our team's been out there with Habitat for Humanity, Loves Creek Watershed in the town of Siler City. That's a good looking chicken plant. I'll tell you what, it's a good looking plant of any type. Whether it's a textile plant, car plant, that's something Siler City can be proud of. Right? And I'll tell you what, I told you I drove through this area 10 years ago, 5 years ago before we built it. And I know what it looked like then, and I'm proud of what it looks like now. And I say that because we did that job right, and we'll do this road. So in conclusion, listening and responding, I think we've proven that we've gone out, talked to people, listened, and tried our best to respond to the concerns they've got. Positive impact, I showed it both economically and through our charitable efforts. I would ask, moving forward, it's been 3 years. We would very much appreciate the opportunity for a vote. I'm not sure if the page has changed, but I think all the things we discussed on page 6. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
I have a question. Last meeting, there were 2 business owners spoke that all concerns about folks, customers being able to get into and out of their establishments. So my question is, does anybody in your team ever speak with those 2 business owners, and if so, what was the result of those conversations?
All I can tell you is we spoke to 20. I don't remember the 2 specific companies that had an issue. I do have a list of everybody we spoke to. So. I remember one of them was the vaccine or all of that.
Another one was the excellent.
Yeah.
You know the result of those?
I think at least with regard to the laundromat, I was concerned about his perceived value or loss of value in the property if you don't necessarily agree with his assessment. I think container business is everything we can do to help it. Do our best. Same with the Exxon. I would think, well, that's 1,600 employees coming in out of the plant. A lot of them are passing that plant on their facility. How much we get positively impacted. Anything else?
But we are moving now council. Yeah.
Might have a team of a portion.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Either one will come up to speak on this. I'm gonna get the map, I'll go back to 64 for a minute. So I know where the stoplight down, over to be at. Between, Pine Glade and North Avenue, between there, it's wooded area right in there. Are them trees planning on coming down, or y'all planning on keeping them up? The reason why I say that, because, I went back over there a couple of weeks ago, and you might have a site district problem. The reason why I say that, because if you come off of North Avenue, and, people cannot see nobody on 64 east. And then you're gonna have folks want to, try to run this light. And they want them to be able to see the fire truck, maybe the, ambulance or police coming down from this way. See what I'm talking about right there? Oh, 64
Right there?
Yes.
That's why I asked that, what they gonna plan on, taking some of this down, or taking it all over down, or what, we're gonna call the site district.
Lucas Helms with Brandon Kemp Associates. That is certainly a concern. Those trees are located, majority of those are located in North Carolina DOT right of way. And when that intersection goes in, the side distance concerns, those trees do need to be removed, with the installation of traffic signal. And that'll have some, those trees are only maintained by DOT. They could come in and remove them.
I would, aren't they planning on putting up a, privacy fence, just like what's current down there? I can't. Yeah,
I was gonna say, in fact, I forgot. We had a video of the last time, like, so we can show that now, that'd be great.
yeah, probably.
Want to play the video?
I'm sorry.
The video?
Yes, absolutely.
That might, oh,
Yeah. Think this, isn't that what that line represents?
that's what I
Security.
think this might, show it right.
Every day in Siler City, truck traffic enters and leaves the Mount Air Farms processing plant carrying chicken around the globe. Some trucks bring live birds to the plant, while finished product goes out the door in refrigerated trucks. East Third Street is a busy place, and often cars must wait as trucks go back and forth across the road. Sometimes cars dart around the trucks, creating a dangerous situation for everyone involved. Mount Air Farms has proposed a better solution, a new road paid for entirely by the company that will truly serve as a gateway to downtown Siler City that is safer for trucks, cars, and pedestrians. This new East Third Street will begin at Highway 64, approximately 510 feet west of where it is now. There, a full access traffic signal will allow vehicles to safely enter the enhanced road, proceed around a slight curve, bypassing Mount Air, and right back into downtown. All along the East Third Street, the company will install sidewalks and landscaping as part of a beautification project. Along the plant's perimeter, Mount Air will install privacy fencing with landscaping for additional screening. This curved design is the result of public input from police and fire officials who use the road. The design also considers businesses on the route that will benefit from enhanced visibility. At Mount Air, safety is always our #1 priority, and our Goal Zero program means we're always striving for zero accidents. Making these improvements to the roads around our facility will allow Mount Air and our neighbors in Siler City to work together to achieve that goal.
I have a question. To your knowledge, how many incidents or accidents have there been involving your trucks on First Street?
I don't know, but I know I don't know which one happened.
So you don't,
Now, you mean suspender benders or
anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
So how many of your trucks that come into your plants carrying live chickens come off of 64? Let's say if you had 10, how many out of 10 come off 60?
Yeah, I don't. But here's what I can tell you. We're in a very similar situation in Millersburg. And I've seen two horrible accidents right off of my office.
Right.
I don't want to wait for one to happen.
Well, the reason I asked you this is, I'm tired. And I get to drive around town all day long, and I see some of your trucks coming from Piggly Wiggly, and come through the middle of town, taking a lift, but how narrow the streets are there. So my question is, they could easily get on 64 and then come to your plant, but they're coming through town, and it's been more than once. So to me, that would be just as a dangerous situation as on Dirt Street.
Well, it's something we do and we continue to do as far as speaking to our drivers.
Right.
We do use the majority of our drivers are outside drivers with the contract. There's a high turnover. But it's something we'll continue to work on.
So you don't have they don't tell you, like, keep the chickens up here, this is how I get to your plant. You don't have like a mapped out plan, how to get there from here to here, point A to B. Like if I was driving a truck, I don't have to tell you I'm coming this here to get to you. I just get there.
We hired outside contracting company.
Anybody?
I would think it's independent contractors, they wouldn't do that, so it's a legal situation.
And while you're on it, the majority of producers that are out in the field, back south, southwest here, that direction, that's where the majority of them are. So we gotta come up that way somehow or another. Like I said, a lot of them come up on top of the planning road. They really, there's not a whole lot of other roads that come up. Some of them come from the sea road area, back down in there. So there are a lot of producers. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't work around there. Y'all talk about that all you want. I just know that's where.
Well, you have old 421 that connects to 64 or 3rd Street, so they don't necessarily have to come to town.
Where they gotta come from, that they have to go way out of the way to get to work. I don't know, I mean, that's a good idea, but I don't know if that's really feasible to do.
Not from Glen, no.
So things also outside of our purview.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna have people that signed up to speak. And some of these names, I'm sorry, I can't read your writing, so you guys can, but the first person is Cecil Wilson. If you will come up and tell us your name and your address.
Reverend Cecil Wilson, True Community Church, 112 Gibson Road, Siler City. And it was in the year 2016 when we first heard of Mount Air Farms coming to Siler City. And we were just so excited. And in the year 2018, Mount Air Farms did several job fairs. And our church, along with a lot of other groups, participated, helping to get people to apply for jobs, and this was in the year 2018. And so the town board at that time, led by the late mayor, John Grimes, and the late mayor pro tem Larry T. With the board, they led and welcomed a much needed boost to Siler City's economy. And being business-minded people, this board knew that a town had a similar need as a shopping center has whenever they are in need of what we can call anchor store. Because that anchor store is always very important to the growth and the success of any shopping center. Same can be true for a town such as Siler City. And Mount Air has been that anchor to come into town and be sure that there will be lots of other industries that will come and follow them. And so Siler City is still open for business. Several citizens, including some who our church have ministered to, have been hired by Mount Air funds, and some were given what we call a second chance with a job that they thought that they, because of their past history, they would never be able to get a job such as this. And so Mount Air came to town supporting many nonprofits, families who were experiencing crisis with food and homelessness, shelter, and this company continues this effort such as this today. And so first we want to thank the town board of Siler City for being proactive for a bright future for Siler City. You're already looking into how vibrant Siler City can be in the near future. You have committees studying and planning ways to attract and keep the next generation hopefully at home. And we want to thank this town board for not rushing into a quick decision. Certainly, after 3 years later, you cannot be accused of rushing on this application. And so, yes, we are happy to hear tonight it's not been closed, it's being rerouted. And so thank you for taking the necessary time and steps to allow public input and due diligence process, and it certainly is paying off. And so it started in 2018, based on the minutes and research we've done and listened to the town planner tonight, 2018. Then in 2020, the town of Siler City hired its own independent engineer to do a traffic impact analysis and went on and did an economic impact study later in the year 2020 with the Chatham Economic Development Corporation. Then a new master plan and traffic impact analysis from Mount Air was presented, and then later on, Mount Air had hosted public input sessions via Zoom, and then yes, now we're on the second public hearing. So here we are now, 3 years later from the date of application, and this time has allowed business owners to make requests and citizens to make requests and have input, property owners requests, and for additional requests from the town board. And yes, it seems to be that it was time very well spent because Third Street is not closing. And so we want to thank the people for participating. Yes, your input was necessary and very much welcome. And finally, we'd like to thank Mount Air Farm for meeting and agreeing to so many of these requests. And thank you for considering Siler City and being this anchor to help attract other companies that we know will come from other different industries. And so we end up with Third Street not closing, which was a main concern of so many. So now we can travel all the way down Third Street, and Third Street make a slight turn to the left, and then continue out to Highway 64 with a brand new traffic light. What an improvement. And now the residents of Glade Apartment and the residents of the Fifth Street community will have a safer way to travel and enter Highway 64 using the same new traffic light. And so because the town board allowed a process for all parties concerned to sit down at the table and reason together. And because of that, now Third Street is not closing. And for that, we want to say thank you. And we are asking that a yes vote in favor of this proposal. Thank you.
And next we have Martha Smith.
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Michael Smith, and I'm the president of the Chatham Economic Development Corporation. And our office is at 964 East Street in Pittsburgh. Just wanted to say, appreciate your support in terms of looking at this consideration. As we've heard tonight, Mount Air is the largest private sector employer in Chatham County. As I mentioned, they have over 1,500 full-time employees and have invested almost $200 million in taxable investment here in Siler City. Our organization, the Economic Development Corporation, we want to do everything we can to help them grow and maintain their presence here. As we've seen from the information they provided, they are an excellent corporate citizen, especially doing some unique things during this pandemic that we were still in the part of. In addition, I think it's very important in terms of where they are in this community as it relates to other small businesses. The fact that 26 factories and farms are supported by this operation, again, is a great show of what they have they've been able to do. So we certainly appreciate your consideration tonight. We want to say to Mount Air, thank you for your business here in Chatham County and Siler City, and we look forward to working with you to continue to grow and prosper. So thank you this evening for your time and appreciate your support.
The next person, last name is Pacheco, is that correct? You need to state your name and address, please.
My name is Marlene Marvin Pacheco. I live here in Siler City, East 4th Street, which is really close to East 3rd Street. I think it's a good idea with rerouting East 3rd Street because me personally, I've seen cars speeding on East 3rd Street. They'll wait for trailers to pull all the way through the shipping area. They just turn around. Also, I appreciate my Air Farms speaking about the business that we have on the other side of East 3rd Street. Also taking the time to speak to the neighborhood around here of what they think about it. So thank you for taking into consideration about this rerouting thing with East 3rd Street. I think it's a really good idea, and I'm not closing the road completely, just partially. So I hope this rerouting thing will be through. I think it's going to be a good idea for Mount Air Farms and for employees.
I think it's Marshall Moser. Is that correct? Say the name correctly.
My name is Marshall Moser. My address is 380 Untitled Drive in Siler City. I live just west of town, down Linden Road, and drive through Siler City every day to work. And work the weekend. I avoid 3rd Street because of the traffic, truck traffic. I had the occasion of driving through there one day last week, and there were no less than 6 trucks, 2 trucks moving empty trailers across Valley Street to the plant, 2 trucks moving empty trailers out of the cooling shelters, fresh load of chickens coming into the scales, and a set of fans coming into the area. So this is a safety issue. I avoid driving through there. You know, I drive a truck, a pickup truck, but I won't win a fight with that transport truck. So I think it's a safety issue, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you. Kim Gaines.
My name is Bill Gaines with United Fire Safety Equipment. We take care of the fire safety at the Siler City plant with Mountain Air here. I live in Golston, but my workers do monthly inspections here, and we're on site quite a bit, and I am in favor of this because of the safety that my employees have always stressed about delivering, picking up fire extinguishers, etc. to this site. I think it'd be a positive thing for the town of Siler City, and I thank out there for helping my employees and our company as we continue to grow as well. Thank you.
Last name is Vicente.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Rigoberto Vicente. I live in 1103 North Island Avenue in Siler City. Siler City is my home and my family home. I've been for 22 years. For the safety of myself, of my family, and the community, I support this project. The new road will prevent accidents and keep our community safe. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person lives on South Channel Avenue. Is it you? Read your right, and I'm sorry.
All right, fast. Thank y'all for having us. I'm Billy Jordan. I own Jordan's Installation, and I've been fortunate enough to work with them out there. In my business, I work mainly with processing pharmaceutical companies, and I've worked with a lot of different companies since 1982. And I can say that they're one of the best. They care about the environment, they care about the people, and they care about the community. I think as y'all have seen with what they've said, everything that you've heard tonight is right. I'm the one that built the bridge along with Install and some of the people here. And I was fortunate enough to work on the plant itself. When you're coming in and out of that plant, as Phil said, my employees, me included, there's a lot of truck traffic. I think there's over 450 trucks a day that go in and out of that plant. And when you've got different people trying to get in and out of there, trucks moving, and you're trying to look around those, it's not easy. When we built the bridge, the road, as everybody in here knows, was actually closed for a short time. I'm not sure the extent, but it was at least 6 months. And there was not a tremendous impact on the community, from what I understand, because I had a lot of friends. I've lived here my entire life, and they expressed interest in me when we was getting ready to close it, you know, that they liked driving through there. But then when it was actually closed, it wasn't that big of a deal. The safety factor alone should be factored in on this, because it shouldn't take an accident, somebody's life or something like that in order for us to have to close that road. I applaud you guys for doing your due diligence, state and what they worked on. But I think moving forward and trying to get more business into the community, which I've already seen happen since they've come, will help the town. So I'm definitely in favor for it, and I hope you guys vote yes. And thank you.
The next person's first name is Jeff. What's your last name? I'm sorry.
Wilson.
Wilson, okay.
Thank y'all for allowing us to speak tonight. My name is Jeff Wilson, and I am on Highway 902 in Bear Creek, North Carolina, and I work with Wilson Brothers. We are a contractor from down there. We are delivering live poultry from this plant each day. And I applaud them for the diligence and taking the time to look at this project and the rerouting of this road. It is a safety concern. We have, just from what we're delivering, 80 trucks in, 80 trucks out each day, and then 80 trucks crossing that road twice a day. A lot of traffic. Talk about the routing that we use to come in. We're dealing with a live animal, a perishable animal. So we're trying to get here in the most safe and quickest manner that we can. We route that as safe as we can in the proximity of getting to that point. When we talk about accidents and looking at the count, anything over one is too much. So if we can do anything to minimize that impact, that potential from an accident with this rerouting, it's a positive to us. We value the life and the safety of everyone here in town, from the employees, the drivers, everyone involved. We feel like this is a positive move, something that has been looked at earnestly. I applaud Mount Airy for their transparency and working the diligence through this. I think they have spent a lot of time and effort being transparent with it. I was with Phil on one of the ride-throughs 5 years ago. But they looked at this facility, and it was exciting to me to know that potentially it was going to come back. I ask us not to be too far removed from the 8 years this town had from 2011 to 2018, when we had no plant here operating. Remember the time and the detriment that it had on our community. But in favor of this project is where I stand today. I think it's a positive move. I had the opportunity to work at this facility from 1988 to 2011 under previous ownership. We were on both sides of the road and dealt with it every day. It's always been a safety concern, and I think it's a positive move at this time. Thank you.
Next, the first name is Abraham. Can't read your last name, so. Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abraham Bonilla. Thank you for Mary and Wilson for inviting me to come to this important meeting. Let me tell you about myself. I come from El Salvador in 1979 to Siler City. I've been in Siler City since 1979. They make it 41 years. I worked for Wilson Brothers as a truck driver. I wanted the drivers to come through this street every day, 10 times a day. Okay. Every time we have a meeting with Wilson Brothers, Manere, they only the priority, the safety. Safety is what they got every time. And I agree with you. There is many times we come out, the scale side out to the facility. The traffic is so heavy, very heavy, and we try to wait and wait. If we understand the frustration that people go through, or the residents go through. They was very frustrated, we are frustrated, because we want to get out of there. But we have to understand each other. And I'd like to congratulate the person who came with this good idea to do a new pattern, new traffic pattern, new project to 64. It's going to be the best way to save an accident. Believe me, I'm a truck driver, and I've been driving truck for years and years. And I can tell you one thing. The residents get frustrated as much the truck drivers we get frustrated. Okay? But we don't look at that way. You look at our safety, at our children, our families. As many times I've been out at the San Jose facility, when there's cars, there's traffic coming through. I've been so close to hear traffic, to hear a car. Or car hit my truck. Reason why? Because we have a blind point on our truck. It's hard to see the traffic coming through. It's hard to see the traffic approaching your truck. Only the truck drivers will know what we go through every day. And those guys, Wilson Brother and Manera, they always think about the safety of this community. And believe me, if you approve this new traffic pattern, it's going to be a plus, not only for the community, be a plus for the companies and for the truck drivers. God bless you.
Thank you. The last name is Ferguson. And
I'm Rodney Ferguson. I work for Wilson Brothers, I'm our supervisor. And I can speak on our trucks, why they come, how they come. We're in Bear Creek, we come up now, Siler City, Glendon. And 25% of our farms are in the Seagrove, Ellaby area. Probably 25 are in Broadway, Lillington area. So we come up that way. The remaining half is right down south, Carthage. We have to come up that way. It's just, we come up, turn on Dogwood, and then on Third Street. So it is very dangerous. And we do the best we can, but it is a 100% safety issue. This is the first time I've seen the presentation of what the finished product looks like, and it's beautiful. I think this town should be proud of what that's going to look like. And I just hope you approve. That's it. Thank you.
It's 7 o'clock, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Let's see, we've got,
Hi.
Everyone, please make sure you say your name and address. It's come to my attention that some of you are not stating your address. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ken Smith, and I spoke before. I'm from the Bear Creek area, and I do work for Wilson Brothers. And as before, my huge concern again is safety. You asked the question, had there been an accident? Yes, they have. one of my trucks had been in an accident. He was actually setting still and another truck turned in on him. So again, there was so much congestion in that area, whether having traffic off of there would have made any difference. Maybe not, because the driver was fast. Our truck, forget our truck. But, biggest thing that happens there, the difference in what they're proposing and what is there is you're gonna have a turning lane. You're gonna be able to keep traffic free flowing down Third Street, regardless of what truck is sitting there waiting to turn. Right now, if you get trucks sitting in there trying to turn into the scale area or going into the shipping dock over there, you're lining up traffic because now they're stopped because of traffic. In this direction, you've got traffic coming up behind you. So now you have lined up cars, trucks, whatever, and you bottleneck everything there. So this proposal that they made will really pretty much alleviate that and traffic free flowing on Third Street. Did ask a question about where will the birds come from, and how we route through Siler City. Actually, Dogwood is the safest route across from Raleigh to Third Street. Everything else is narrow streets. You come at Piggly Wiggly, you have to take off on a hill like that. You turn at the next one, you have to take off on a hill, plus when you make your right hand turn, you'll hit the light pole sitting there on the corner. So Dogwood is the safest area coming in from the southern part of town up Siler City Glendon Road. It's the safest way to get across there. Is it the best? Probably not, but it's the safest way for our drivers to get across there. Several years ago, when I worked for the same place Jeff worked at, had a complaint from the gentleman there in the old house. I don't want your trucks coming by here at 3 o'clock in the morning and waking me up and everything keeping me awake. And I told him the same thing. It is the safest way to get across there. Can y'all help? Can DOT help? Yes. Talk about sight distance. There's a lot of sight distance issues all over Siler City, where there is limbs hanging over here, trees out here. I have complained to DOT about the vine that's growing across the street there on Dogwood. Cannot get nothing done. So if I can get y'all's help on that, be awesome. But there are a lot of sight distance issues across the street. And that's stuff that we have to do too. Also, bridge laws brings a lot into this of how our routing is. You can't cross low tonnage bridge. You don't like to see stuff like that. Those are precedents. So, but we do our best to try to make the safest route. We do review that with our drivers. If it's not safe the way they're doing it, we will sit down and say, hey, you may want to go a different way, just to make everything more safe. But wholeheartedly support what they're doing. I think they've done their great due diligence to work for 3 years to try to get to this point. So I'm just asking that you guys let them do that.
Will Copeland. Matt Nance, that's right. Sure you state your name and.
My name is Matt Neat. I'm currently a Bear Creek resident, but I moved to Siler City this Friday. If we can get Mr. Bailey out of here tonight so he can close my house. But anyway, I'm happy to hear the Wilson Brothers people. I'm happy to hear the truck driver. I've been going back and forth with these trucks for the last several years up and down the road on Siler City Glendon Road. And I know they turn down Dogwood. Sometimes I turn the street before, so I can beat them down Third. But I use all these businesses along Third. I've used the Express Lube and Western Auto and Third Street Auto and all different places. And I have had the people come around the truck, almost hit me head on. I've almost hit the truck myself. It's a very safety situation, period. And I would be happy for y'all to approve it. I'm gonna have less traffic with the trucks now that I'm moving to Siler City over here on Hillcrest Drive. So that's a relief, but they do a great job. Mount Air has been very gracious to us. I'm also one of the nonprofits that they donate to, so, very, very proud of Mount Air and the job they're doing. And we shall go ahead and approve this, let's keep it on. Thank you.
Anyone for new bids?
Good evening, my name is Tanya Hernandez, and I'm from 1111 Sunrise Place here in Siler City. So basically, I have lived here since '98. My whole family lives here. I actually went to school in elementary, middle, in this very same school, high school. So my children are also attending school in Siler City. When we first initially heard about the Third Street rerouting project, our biggest question really was how it was going to happen. And so I think the biggest concern really was knowing there is going to be change. This shouldn't be a concern, but rather seen as an innovation and a positive outcome to our community. Siler City lacks sidewalks, and the project presents promising ideas that we as a community will benefit from. My family often takes walks around the town as a form of staying active, and when reaching roads like East Third Street, it becomes a turnaround point for us due to its high volume of traffic and lack of sidewalks, especially near the plant. It is also dangerous passing by now as the Mount Air drivers and trucks are loading and unloading on a frequent basis. The rerouting plan will avoid pedestrians from being in too close contact with trucks and large vehicles and minimize the chance of a tragic accident. In conclusion, I see a vision of change and innovation with safety as a priority. It is hard to break tradition or see a big change. The rerouting plan sounds like a promising innovation to our community, and I am pro for it. I really believe it's a blessing to have Mount Air and be part of it myself. So I hope you can approve. Thank you.
Butch Hudson.
That's all. I'm Butch Hudson, 822 East Third Street, Siler City. Look around, probably nobody here as old as I am, and I know I've been here all my life. Street closure, misrepresentation, rumors, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, it doesn't matter, it's over with now. It was an alternative. We have 4 entrances: East Raleigh Street, Third Street, M.L. King Jr., Greensboro Avenue. All of those were put in by the DOT and didn't have any input from the board or anybody in Siler City. We used to just use a yield as we went out Third Street, as we went out Raleigh Street. It was a caution light. Well, it wasn't even a caution light. When I was in high school, it was a caution light at M.L. King. That, I guess, the only stoplight was up at Greensboro Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. I think this alternative with a lot of fussing and fussing and back and forth with me, and I know I was instrumental because I would have been totally against a closure. And I've told a lot of the people of Mount Air and some of them that are not here now. The alternative has been great. They have listened to me. And I think Kathy and I, the first time I met, I said, you don't have to convince me. I'm the worst person you can have, or I'm the best friend you can have. You've got to convince the board. Is that not what I told you, Kathy?
Yes, sir.
I think with their presentation of Third Street, you, them, the town, we have something we've never had before. We've got an entrance to the town, downtown, all the businesses, it doesn't matter which street it's on, that we can be proud of. It can be a signature street that we can say, we're coming into town and we know what it looks like. All these guys have been really helpful and have listened. Now, You know me, and all of you do, sometimes I get a little bit out of hand. I have students here that I taught a long time ago. I had a teacher back there, and she's still here, and I can't believe it, because I taught before she did. So, anyway, I know what's in this town, and nobody knows what goes down Third Street more than in this room than I have. I've sat in the same chair since December of 1990. I can tell you how many trucks go by, I can tell you how many trucks don't go by. And I saw it when we didn't have a poultry plant, or we didn't have any plant. I could go stand in the middle of the street and try to get business to come to my office. I'm not getting in the middle of the street right now. But I'm all for the alternative, I'm all for what they are doing and what you have asked them to do. I think they more than I thought they would ever come to the plate and do what they need to do. Thank you.
The last one was four. Young.
My name's Tim Bill. I went to barbecue chicken tonight and didn't get any on this black shirt. So I'm proud of that. I live at 1289 Bowling Bennett Road, Siler City. A lifelong resident of Longley and 8th generation settlement. I'm the site manager at that. Been around poultry plants most of my life. 20 years past August. So this is what 40 years of chicken business I do tell you anywhere. My first job started across town. I've worked for, I guess, every chicken company that's been in Siler City since the 60s, except towns. I worked at Carolina Poultry when I was in high school. Across town, State Farms, Shell Farms, Purdue Farms, Goldfish, and lastly, Pilgrim Pride. I remember watching the last load of chickens come through the Pilgrim Pride on May 8th, 2008. It's a sad time for me. It's been 27 years at that location under the various companies. I went to Stanford, continued there until 2018 when I came back to Siler City to the Mount Air. 2011 Townsend plant operated where we are now closed. And for the first time since the 40s, I think it was, the poultry plants in Siler City. Mount Air is the best company that I've ever worked for. Out of the 7 that I was with over my 4 years there. All I'd see another poultry operation in Siler City, but Mount Air made multi-million-dollar investment, came here, created hundreds of jobs, millions of revenue. I have watched since the day I started working here, their concern for their employees, community, and others. Probably worked here first 3 or 4 months and never had to buy lunch. Wherever I went, if I was a senior member of Mount Air Management, they always pick up on staff. I witnessed buying meals for families that look like they needed help. It's just part of what we do. Good things they keep in expanding name, your reputation. I remember during the plant construction project, the contractor that was overseeing the wastewater facility. He'd been paid, but he left town with money and left a bunch of subcontractors unpaid. Talking a whole lot of money. Mount Air stepped up and they paid those subcontractors in full. In essence, we paid twice. Because they didn't want smaller companies suffering. And they didn't pay their reputation. Down there, they make a habit of doing what's right, even when no one's looking. They're very good in the community. The police and fire departments, if you've seen one, you get a earlier presentation. Boys and girls club, that's just the name of you. Maybe we had it all in fire department here recently. It was a little more than we even asked for. 360 lighting system that goes around the first response truck. Participated in this Thanksgiving for thousands, 2 different Thanksgivings. We packaged 20,000 boxes between over North Carolina. Everybody that did this was volunteer. Giving, volunteering is part of our culture. It's what we do. Being a good neighbor is what we do. I'm proud to be a part of it. I have 9 other locations other than the plant here. My department takes care of it. We do a lot of stuff. We travel different places. And, it's hard getting out on that street, watching for traffic inside the fence.
I'm sorry, she called time.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Can I just sum it up?
Yes, ma'am. But I think you'll find that we work with everybody to arrive at a suitable solution. So we want to do the right thing. That's what we do.
Thank you. The next person is Barbara Steele.
My name is Bobby Steele, 901 East 3rd Street, Siler City. And just kind of want to start off, Mount Air did say they had contacted all the business owners, and if you could pull up I'd like to see the map again for the redirection. They noted that they did contact about 20 business owners, and I was one of them that did contact me. It appears that we didn't go quite as we talked about at the meeting, but while that's coming down, just so you know, people who know who I am, I'm not quite like Butch, but I don't get very, outgoing or defensive. I'm pretty much a laid back guy. I do speak my mind. I've been known for that, but I'm pretty laid back. This is me upset. This is me happy. I just don't show a lot of emotions, but I was telling one of the gentlemen here before, one comment that was made, and we'll address that here a little bit later, kind of upset me. And I had to go back to it, and I'm not sure if I'll quote this correct, but I read Abraham Lincoln to take a derogatory or a bad letter, and before replying to that letter, he would wait 48 hours to reply, which makes good sense. That way you're not in a head-butting game. And I didn't have 48 hours now there, but I will, anything that comes out that sounds like it's bad, what it's not, I don't mean anything bad. But the issue that I have is I own the laundromat that you can see there between the cul-de-sac and the redirection. And when I was here August the 2nd, my main concerns was the depreciation of property. And just for the record, I have no issue with the road redirection. I addressed that to them. I have no bad thoughts about it. I think the redirection will be good. That's what they need. That's what they want. I think it'll be good. I just think the issues that apply to me, I thought we were addressing, but now it appears that we're not, and we'll get to that. My issues were, I own piece of property here that has 3 road frontages currently. You see the road frontage in the back, the road frontage on the side, the road frontage in the front. You're taking 2 road frontages away from me. I've had to deal with those 3 road frontages in a good and a bad way all throughout my almost 16 years there. So now you're taking 2 road frontages away. You can't see it, but I do have a rear entrance. And if you don't think that rear entrance is used, come sit in the parking lot. That rear entrance is used a lot. They're taking the rear entrance away. Most importantly, they're taking my road, as I stated in the last meeting, on the traffic count, there's 4,600 vehicles daily on average that go down Third Street past the business. Redirecting the road that takes my 4,600 count down to 0. And I don't know if anybody, and this was the statement that was made, that he did not see any depreciation of the property. This is the best way I can explain it. Let's take 64. Let's redirect 64 and take away their rear entrance. See if their value is depreciated. You're taking a road away and taking an entrance away. Now, how much more difficult would it be for them trucks? It's not a good example, but the best I could come up with in 20 minutes. So my thing is to the board, I'm not going to, we did speak in our conversation with their community, I guess the community director. They asked me, so first they told me, we're going to put some signs there. And that's good. I thought that was great, putting signs redirecting to the laundry. But you're taking a 2 foot by 3 foot or a 2 by 2 sign and replacing a 40 foot by 32 foot building. You look at the redirection, by the time they get into the curve, they're not looking to the right, they're looking ahead. So you're taking away the visibility. And anybody that's in real estate is location, location, location. And like I told you before, if you're in the billboard business, billboards are rented by visibility and how many seconds of visibility. And there was one guy that stated, I'll add this to this, he stated that during the 6 months, during the 6 months of road closure, it's actually 13 months plus, he didn't have a business there. We've seen a decrease in business just as the road closure. And just to wrap it up, I'm for the redirection. I'll ask the board to insert in their stipulations, there must be some type of depreciation settlement with 901 associated. Spent $200 million to get where they're at. This is a 0.5% or 1% of that. It's not that much money. You spent that much money. What's another million?
All right, next person is Daisy Gonzalez.
Everyone. I'm Daisy. I live right across the street, 229 Central Avenue. So, the town there reached out to me, speak for the redirection, I guess. And yes, I am for it. I think that it's a great initiative to try and beautify the community. Like Tanya was saying, having sidewalks there would be really good to have them there, and safety issues, not everybody cares about safety. They show that with their employees, and I would imagine that this is a bigger safety concern. They are looking at trucks and stuff. So, yeah, I think it would be a great addition to the community.
Daisy, are you Helena's sister? Are you Helena's sister?
Correct. No.
Helena, you're not Helena's sister.
Oh, well? Oh, yeah. Hello.
Ariel Sandoval. She's not here. And then the last person is Donna Smith, who shares a letter that will be included in the minutes, and everyone should have a copy of that letter. Anyone here that does not have a copy on the board? Yeah, we're not gonna read it, we're just gonna enter it in the minutes, anyone that would like to see the letter can read it in the minutes. Is that correct? All right, questions from the board? Comments, questions? Yes, of course.
Bill. So, the last meeting, addressed the two prongs of the statute. To meet the before we got to proposed conditions. And just to go over it again for the record, the first condition is that closure is not contrary to public interest. We'll point out the statute doesn't say it has to be beneficial. It says it has to not be contrary to public interest. And the second one was that no individual on the property would thereby be deprived of reasonable means of ingress and egress to his property. And as you research the case law for what reasonable means is. So the two questions are, did you find anything? And if so, what did you find?
Yeah, I found a few things, surprisingly very little, and no case law from North Carolina, but directly on your questions, but there is case law though, across various jurisdictions dealing with street closures, and whether or not the access is reasonable, and it comes up in the context of inverse condemnation cases, where a city or local government closes a street, permanently or temporarily for whatever reason, and a claim is made, the business was harmed by that, and so it seems that those types of claims go hand in hand with street closure claims from time to time, and if I think all the cases were consistent that if there was a ingress and egress still available, even though it might not be as convenient, or even if it was a circuitous route or something of that nature, it didn't constitute a take. So, and the plaintiffs were generally bound to not have standing to bring the city so out. So that's the best I could do on the questions, but it appears if there is ingress and egress available, then it's a reasonable access and you can't sue for inverse condemnation. So it's the best I can do on that.
Any amount of ingress and egress still available would be reasonable.
Yes. Now there were some cases. Yeah, there was a case or two. Generally, they were disposed of on motion, but I think there was a case or two where there was a trial as to whether or not a newly created easement or something to a business was reasonable or not. But in cases where there was never going to be a point in time when they were deprived of access totally, that was found to be reasonable, or at least was found not to give rise to an inverse condemnation claim, which would be, if it were an inverse condemnation, be unreasonable.
Correct. And those other cases where they disposed of on summary judgment.
Summary judgment or motions to dismiss, motion on pleadings, those types of things.
For the defense.
Yes. Generally, the city was, defendants in this.
Okay, I appreciate, thank you for the research.
Anyone else have anything to say? Mr.
Before we go any farther, just want to say, this is a project that's been going on for a long time. And there's a lot of people put in a whole lot of work. Either some of it's up front, a whole lot of it behind the scenes. It's town staff, the town manager, the town board, especially down there, and they're all their people doing a lot of work. And also, all the citizens of the town have participated in this process. And that's something that, feel proud of. I know at one time, me personally, I felt like the whole thing was on this board. We didn't have any information to go on what was out there. And we asked you to help us and give us some information, give us a direction to go in. Tell us what you're thinking. And that actually happened. It was a large help. You stepped up to the plate. Everybody put their 2 cents worth in. I think what you see before you tonight is the result of all that work coming together. It didn't just come from that place. And at this point, one of the things I've always looked at in my time on the board here was look at it through the lens or through the eyes of what is the best for Siler City as a whole. Not what's best for me or any individual, but what is the best for Siler City. And where we started from, where we are today, I think we're at that point. Because I think we have something here that will benefit the town as a whole and the citizens as a whole. Is it perfect? No, there's nothing easy. But I think between the cooperation of the town area, cooperation of the town, cooperation of the citizens, I think we have something here that we can work with and we'll be proud of going forward.
Yeah, so we, after the 2 columns of statute, we will get into the conditions. I want to ask you about only, it's listed as 2 conditions, but I just kind of consider 1 condition. The town staff and mayor is not agreeing on. And that's the turn lane at 10. Now, it breaks it up into turn lane at north and south 10, but they're so close together in my mind's eye, it just has to be 1. I don't think there's a way to get in there on 2 turn lanes there. And I really appreciate you agreeing to expand the pipe in the intersection there at Raleigh and North 10. And to allow not food trucks, but trucks making deliveries to those businesses that are there. I appreciate that. I would ask you to, though, consider, since we are expanding that intersection, I would ask you to please reconsider the turn lane. I think it may become needed, particularly if we're going to expand that intersection. As you agree to do, the smaller delivery trucks may take advantage of that route. Particularly delivering to maybe the body shop or the glass and warehouse. And actually, I don't know.
Sorry. This avenue is not wide enough. Probably.
The entrance being expanded though. So
I'm talking about the street.
So I ask you to look at reconsidering the turn lane there. I don't know the cost of that, but that's why I asked earlier, I asked Jackie if it's going to cost. If it's not too exorbitant, too much in the grand scheme of things.
Well, all I can tell you is, I'm not an expert in the area. Be reconfirmed. I can't say, one, if there is active space and, what it would take for them to would change. So I would look like the
Just asking, look at the cost and see what they do. I don't even know, that's why I asked.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So could you just look at that and see what that cost might be? Not asking you to commit to a turn lane, just asking you to look at what the cost might be in relation to the scope of your.
And I would tell you more than this now. I'm not an expert in the area.
And if it wasn't staff recommendation, I wouldn't have asked what the cost, but we all respect Jack's opinion, so. I'm just asking to take a look at the cost.
Anyone else have anything to say? All right, well, I have something to say. I'm still very concerned about Raleigh Street. I don't want in the future for the board members to look back on us and say, why did we not consider what's going to happen to Raleigh Street as Siler City grows and progresses? We know that Mount Air has bought 30 acres parallel to Raleigh Street. We know that's not going to stay vacant. So we know something's going to happen on Raleigh Street. Are we going to be prepared? Or are we going to look at it and say, well, we should have considered that before we considered this, or we're just going to wait and say hindsight's 50/50. Unless you have been on Raleigh Street every day, 13, 15, or 20 plus years, you don't know what kind of traffic is already there. And you can't tell me that people's not going to cut in and out from Raleigh Street, Third Street, and so forth. I think that's something that we need to consider before we pass any type of closure or rerouting. Is what can we look at to happen to Raleigh Street in the future? Yes, Chair.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the resolution to reroute Third Street, close Johnson Street.
So we're on
Motion
page.
that we do that as and with the where is it? With the revisions that have been presented tonight on Schedule T added to that. That ain't real elegant, that's what I like.
Second.
That is, was there a second? We're done hearing everything.
Well, we have, I don't think we're close to public hearing yet.
No.
I have a question.
And do we need to break that up into separate motions? Bill, once public hearing's closed, we need to break up into separate motions.
Yes.
Do I need to close?
We have to have separate motions for the orders closing the streets, but to close the public hearing, I mean, I don't think you have to literally do it 3 times just because there's 3 streets involved with it. Right. What? Right.
I need a question. So we're ready to close. the-
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
I make a motion that we
Or Jackson?
Jack.
presented to.
Presented 2 list of conditions to the board. Need to decide probably which one the board will consider. And make that clarity. That would then make your resolutions clear. With the references to the conditions.
What would the conditions be?
So, tonight's handout, one was labeled with a T, that was what town staff had prepared for consideration of the board. And one labeled with a M, was those that were countered by Mount Airy. If I'm hearing correctly, the one with the end might be the one you want to consider.
What's the difference between T and M?
T, from my understanding, please correct me, Jack, if I'm incorrect. Schedule E, the M is, what Mount Air is in agreement with. And the only thing that they're not in agreement with is the turn lanes at 10th and the closing of doing the work on Raleigh Street before doing Third Street.
Also, one other difference between T and M, in our T, one I-3 in red, that's in ours, it's not in theirs. And we have an update tonight that DOT does not recommend I-3.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's in red.
Right, so I think if we're going with, we haven't made, the motion yet on the closure, but forecasting if it remained passed, I would be okay with taking out I-3. I'll also be okay with taking out R. I'm okay with the Raleigh Street coming afterwards. President down there on N, on R1 and R2 and 3, says he's going to look at the cost, not committing anything. So, and I might ask him to make a commitment. It's not out there in cost projections. That's crazy. We'll try to make that commitment, but I would like that. If we get to that point.
I just like,
If we go with M, M is the big and we. Yeah, if we go with M, where those things taken out, that cleans it up. Is that correct? Is that how you read it?
That's how I read it is, Schedule M has all the, that blocking, the DOT issue and Raleigh Street. So I'm okay with M as it's written.
my clarification, that I have a concern about Raleigh Street. And, when they're working on it, I just want to get clarification. As they're working on Third Street, is Third Street still available at the time until such time as the closure, so that Raleigh Street is ready to be worked on or whatever? Because still, as when Pro Tem said, I'm concerned about the amount of traffic that comes, even though you say it's not a lot of traffic. If Third Street closes while they're doing work, then all of that traffic is going on Raleigh Street. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear on that.
So in the conditions, good question, Ms. Boone. One of the earlier things that we added here, it says East Third Street, East Fifth Street, and Johnson Avenue, this is letter D, will not be closed to traffic until all realigned East Third Street improvements are complete. That's priority one. That's been, I think, a priority for some time. Board has shared this, Mario has agreed to that. Then once the East Third Street, what has been done, the new route is open. Mario is desiring, that's what's in, then start the Raleigh Street improvements after that.
Any more questions?
Just one point of clarification, which I'm okay with. Another difference on MT is R underlined in blue, which I think that's good. But I just want to point that out. So we'll know that's a difference, but
So I guess that I have to withdraw, since the motion was made and seconded, I need to withdraw my second because the motion should be moved at this point.
Yeah, and I'll withdraw that motion. You gonna withdraw?
I'll redo that.
I'll withdraw that motion. Get it corrected.
is it public hearing closed now? Yeah. I'll make an order that we adopt, I'll make a motion rather to we adopt the order permanently closing a portion of East Third Street. That's presented on page 63 of our paper. And I'll make a motion that in conjunction with that order, we adopt what I'm referring to as Schedule M as the conditions that would need to be agreed upon for that.
Just a point of clarification, it should be Schedule E version M.
Scheduling version.
Yeah.
And I'm submitting those as conditions to the order permanently closing the portion of East Third Street.
All right, before we vote, I'd like to make a motion that the board take no action tonight until further review of Raleigh Street and how that's going to be impacted.
There's a motion, second.
Well, it is, just to clarify, it's considered superseding motion, basically to put it off the vote. It's not even proper to make that after it's been second to the original main motion. So, but it has to have a second. And it becomes the motion temporarily until it's resolved under Robert's rules. Which is what we generally typically follow in Siler City. So there's no second, then there's,
Then we go back to the first motion.
that's correct.
Okay, so no second.
No.
Or what I-
Yeah, nobody second.
Only way that my motion can move forward is if there is a second. If not, it's done. So there's no second. Is that correct?
Now you can proceed to vote or continue to debate, discuss the motion that's been made and seconded. In other words, vote anytime now on the main motion made by Lewis and seconded by Chip.
Okay, so we're ready to vote.
This is more discussion amongst the board.
All in favor? All opposed? Me.
That was just one of the need two more, right, Jack? Same conditions.
Like to make a motion that we close this street. If that's the next one. Yeah, and with that, we on safe side, operate the same conditions and their Schedule A-M. with that.
Second. Oh, was you through? I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Me.
And I'll make a motion that we adopt the order permanently closing Johnson Avenue in the town of Siler City with the conditions presented in Schedule E version M.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Me. All right, if there is no other further business, then I will adjourn the meeting. All right, meeting adjourned.
She actually had it.